Okay, and we're recording. So this video, I just quickly wanted to talk about this LoL chess website. It's about a game called Teamfight Tactics that I've really been enjoying a lot. Diamond 4 Flex, I guess. But what I wanted to talk about, because it's a development channel, is how this site was built, or at least how I think it was built. And one of the reasons I think this is so interesting is because I don't think, now obviously I don't know how to build it yet, but I don't think building a site like this would be that complex. And another thing I want to talk about is a site like this, because Teamfight Tactics is a relatively new game. If being first to market is extremely important, so a site like this, which probably had a development team, was first to market, and as you can see by these 1, 2, 3 ads, it's being monetized because it was first to market on a new game. And I know Riot Games has a extensive developer API, which I'll talk about a little later, but I just wanted to say how building something like this is within my grasp. Maybe not at the current moment, but soon. So obviously, we have a couple of things here that I can definitely tell. Now, I don't think this site is built with React, so my dev tools aren't popping up. However, I can still tell, knowing how React is, several things about this. Okay? Whoops. Okay. Let's have to go back. So first and foremost, let's talk about this stuff. So all of this is just data that has been fetched from my username, which is hair, which they found from this search. So you take this search and then you send it that information to the API, the Riot's API, and then you get back a package of data and you use that data to display. So for this graph, I'm sure someone in the API has my LP progress. So if we look at it, and it has the dates here. So if you look at it now, and one thing I do want to see is that I've played more than 3 games in a day, but it seems as if 1, 2, 3, that's the max amount of data points it'll add in for you in any given day. But as you can see here, we have an on hover on this whole graph. I've made graphs like this using a graphing library, but you need data in that library. So what you would do is fetch the LP history data, probably in an array of just of numbers, and then plug that into this graph, and then it'll show. So that shouldn't be difficult. So 61, 56, 96, all of these are just plain numbers plugged in to an array, and then that array is probably number, date, number, date, number, date, number, date, like that, and then that's used to create the graph. So pretty simple, I think. Same thing with over here. So you fetch my name, you get that I'm in Diamond 4, and you simply display that, and then you fetch my rank. Diamond 4 means I'm in the top 1.2%, and same thing with all of these. You get how many games I've played, you get my win rate, you got my losses, you've got my wins. Now, I'm not sure if these are probably in a separate area of the API, and it's just fetched concurrently and displayed there. But once again, I haven't looked at the TFT API, but we'll get into that a little later. Now, for these I know for a fact are just components, right? And you're saying, and then you fetch my match history, and then you're going to go ahead and say for each match history, create a component that looks just like this. So, and obviously you can see that it goes super far down. I don't know, we'll say that's about 50 games or something. Okay, and obviously in that statement you would have something saying, if I was top 4, go ahead and shade it blue, give it a little change the CSS, and if I won, go ahead and shade it green and change the CSS. Same thing over here, depending on the tier I was in, change the icon. Depending on the tier I played in, plat 2, diamond 4, go ahead and change that. Over here, show the LP lost and LP gained. Over here, simply show the amount played, show the wins, show the losses. So same thing we're fetching up here, show the win rate. And I don't know if the win rate is maybe already in the API, but you could obviously just go ahead and say 15, which is my win rate, divided by 217. Okay, now if this was me making this, I wouldn't repeat, because this is a lot of repetition for this game's played and losses. I don't know, I'd probably just have this up here. So the graph is a component. These are each individual components. This is a component and this is a component. So pretty simple. Fetch my avatar URL, fetch my username. I guess I can favor this and it does something. Probably in my local history, my region. So all of this stuff is based on the information I'm getting back. That's why this was so intriguing to me, because these are things that I'm seeing, and I'm kind of seeing what goes on behind the scenes. Now, unfortunately, I clicked this a little too early before I got the idea to record this video, but when you click this up to date button, all it does is refetch the data, because when I first logged into this page, this top one was not here, and you click OK and you click refresh, and it'll go ahead and refresh and it show that I just got to diamond 4. Let's turn this back to English. Okay, so that's that, and I just thought that was interesting. So I'm going to go through some other sites on this website just to show how I think it was built, and I definitely think that this is a project that I would be interested in building myself, because I'm not going to say it's easy, but it seems doable within the realm of things that I can achieve. Okay, but the main thing I just wanted to focus on was that these guys were first to market, and therefore their site is being used more, and therefore it's being monetized, and that's the end goal, I guess. So over here is a kind of a composition builder, and this is just pretty simple. You have the comps, right? And then it's just in a grid, and these are all components, and then I'm assuming depending on the champion it shows, and then these have a nice on hover effect. Now if you go ahead and look in the dev tools, right, you can see that it's fetching the data from a part on its site, and that's where the data is coming in from. But yeah, just simple on hover stuff. Pretty cool. And then these things are just a drag and drop library. Boom, drag and drop inside of a grid of 7, I'm pretty sure. And it's just drag and drop. Same thing with hair, drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. And then while you're doing that, I'm assuming there's some kind of, this whole board thing would be an object, and it's keeping track of the champion synergies and champion origins in that object. So if I add, let's clear this. Can I do that? No, I can't. So let's say, let's say we have, whoops, let's reload the page. So it's keeping track of it, and also before I start, you can see that each deck has a unique ID. So I'm sure if I did this, it'd take me to a different deck. No, it doesn't, because it's unique. But the point is, you can see it's a unique ID. Alright, so we can see, let's change sorcerers. So right now there's 3 sorcerers, Cassidy, Aurelian Soul, and Karthus. Now, and I'm assuming this is a one big object. So if I went ahead and added Ari, who's another sorcerer, you'll see this pops up to 4, and you'll also see Wild go to 3. So it just gets updated automatically, and you can see that this is just one big object, and it's keeping track of it and kind of displaying it in the UI over here. Okay, let's go for another sorcerer, Vagar. So once again, you're gonna see Sork pop to 4, and then let's go for one more just to get it across, and you're gonna see Sork pop to hello, no. Let's do Evelyn. You're gonna see Assassin come out of nowhere and go to 1. If it'll let me do it, well, it would. I think it's just because we're in max. Whatchamacallits. Now, same thing for these items. It's just a drag and drop thing. Okay, drag and drop. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, but once again, ads, monetization, money going in. So that is pretty cool. So these tier leaderboards, it's just another thing I want to show you. It's just fetching the data from the Riot's API and then just kind of showing it in order with their own custom styling, which I think is pretty. I mean, it's cool, but it's not hard. It's just these are just list items, and this is the same search URL that I used. I mean, not search URL. This is the same search box. You type in your summoner name, and it'll take you back to this page. So this search box is actually, if I guess I can't go back. Oh, so you can see from where did I get here from leaderboards. But the point is that it has the same exact functionality as this one. So I would not be surprised if it's the same component, maybe just styled a little differently, but it's running the same function. It's just taking me to the same place, running the same function, but just it's tracking my progress through the site because it says from leaderboard. So that's pretty cool that I didn't even notice. And these things I'm sure are just from Riot's API, where you're saying if you're in gold 1, there's 3.4% of people in gold 1, and it's just taking all those numbers, putting them in an array, and then just using a graphing library to display it as a graph. But once again, you have a component here to change the server that you fetch to. So this is fetching the NA server leaderboard, or Latin America South or Korean. So this is a component. This is the graph component. This is another component. I think this is styled kind of weirdly. If it's going to be this big, why not just put it in the center, So this is another component. Same thing. These are another component. It's saying region. I have NA selected. Tier, I select the challenger. So it's going to fetch a different set of information than if I would just select grandmaster or something. And it's just showing the leaderboard. So component, another set of components to do another thing. Well, I'm sure each of these might be a component, and then it's just put together in a grid, and then it's just fetching the leaderboard. So yeah, I think that's mostly it for this. And this is Riot's API for League. I haven't found the TFT stuff yet, but this is their API. And then here is some information about their TFT endpoints, which I do want to build a project on because it seems pretty fun, and I do enjoy the game very much. I've played 200 games. And then this is OPGG, which is, let's see how long I've been talking. This is OPGG, which is League of Legends kind of informational website thing, which is very similar to the TFT one, but this is a very popular one for League, which does a lot of the same thing. So if I typed in my summoner name, it would be, oh, I'm not Korean. If I typed in my summoner name, interesting. If I typed in my summoner name, it's going to go ahead and fetch my information. You can see here, it's going to concatenate it because I guess that's how it takes it in. Take that space as a plus, and go ahead and fetch that API data. Sorry, my lid fell. This is not registered at, well, yeah, NA.opgg. But yeah, if we were to go ahead and type in my name, oh, okay, this is a perfect example. So last updated 5 months ago. So if I click update, you should see my icon change because I've changed my icon from that. So, but this is just refetching the data. Boom, see, it refetches it. And once again, site is heavily monetized, and that's not anything wrong with that. But once again, you see a lot of the same functionalities. The search bar to go ahead and dive into Riot's API. I guess this favor button, an update button, a general summary, ads. But yeah, you can go ahead and see components based on my rank, another component that shows a cute little graph and my champions played, and then this stuff. This is a single page application type of thing because the page isn't reloading. And then you can go ahead and see how they have it. So type of game, time from now, so it shows the exact time it played, and then it probably calculates the difference between now and then. win or loss, and obviously if it's a win, it's gonna pop blue. If it's a loss, it's gonna change the background to red. And white, red, summoner spells, all of this stuff is all coming from Riot's API, and they're just showing it essentially based on different things. My items, my trinket, the fellow players that I played with, and then if you click on these guys, it'll take you to their names. I'm not gonna go on their names, but you get the idea. And you can just see it's just doing the same. It's doing the same function as if I searched it, but just using their name from the API and then searching it and then displaying it as a link, I guess. So to show you all of this cool stuff, I guess all of this stuff is coming from Riot's API because it's extremely extensive. I've looked at it before. I haven't really played with it, but you can see all of this stuff. And then this is their loading animation. You can see while it's fetching, go ahead and show that loading animation. So that's cool. And then as you can tell, this whole thing is a component. So basically it's gonna fetch in a different game and then use all that information and then just keep reusing it, and you can see the loading animation. Okay, so once again, component, this is a component, this is a component, each of these are components. You can see boom, 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 and you guys kind of saw that quick loading animation. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I'm about to talk about. And main thing that intrigued me about this is that these sites are heavily monetized, and I'm not gonna say it's easy to build, but I can see the mechanisms that allow it to run. Okay, so that's my first video in a while. Thanks for watching, I guess. Don't forget to smash that like button. Alrighty, see ya.